Hi, welcome to Inside the Moms Club, where being a mom is the coolest place to be. Here in the Moms Club, we believe that what embarrasses you now will make a great story later. And let's face it, you don't laugh sometimes, you're gonna cry. Join us in having a good laugh together. I'm Monica Samuels. You are now inside the Moms Club, your private destination for all things mom. Welcome, moms. Welcome to Inside the Moms Club. I'm your host, Monica Samuels, and I am thrilled to have with me today my co-host, Julie Orchid. Woo! Welcome back, Julie.
Thank you. I'm grinning from ear to ear.
I am so thrilled to have Julie back. Now, we had, last time I was here, we had a couple of substitute co-hosts, and, well, one of them, my sister, I think she wanted to be the host, but that's a whole other story. But they filled in beautifully. Her daughter Georgia was another one. But
yeah, that was really special. Thank you for having her.
To have you back. Can you share with our audience why you weren't here?
Well, I took a little break. I've got one of those fancy stories that I got diagnosed with breast cancer. And I am so beyond thrilled and feel a ton of gratitude to be back today and back on track, and super scary. But I was able to come back and, be stronger and better before, and don't skip your mammograms. That would be my first advice to everybody. So I'm doing very well, and I'm truly over the moon to be here today. So thanks.
Well, we're over the moon that you are here. Yeah. And we're very excited. And,
it's hard to get rid of me.
It's
that
hard.
Happen.
Yeah. Well, I guess you're here permanently then.
I guess. I hope so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And as far as, breast cancer, people get all different kinds of. But my aunt was diagnosed with breast cancer many years ago. She had the surgery. She had the 5 years of the drug. Tamoxifen. And she's 87 now, and that's sort of a memory of hers that she had breast cancer. So these days, that's not like in the old days. I guess people took it as, this is not good at all.
This is over. You're done. Whatever. Yeah. I think the most part for getting a diagnosis of that is that we've come so far, and you can really have your before cancer, and then you have after cancer. And so what happens in between is really something that you can fare well from this type of thing. So, but for the most part, I just really like seeing that diagnosis on a piece of paper. You think it's someone else, you don't think it's you, and you have to really process that and go through what life is going to look like. Mm-hmm. So, yes, your aunt, 87, and I'm not going to give my age, but not 87.
You aspire to 87 many decades from now. Yes.
Anyway, I think for the most part, this is Inside the Moms Club. And for the most part, for me, I always knew that I could handle anything that came my way. But I have children and 2 daughters, and I'm going to try not to cry because my daughter's here today. But for the most part, I would never want to leave them. And that would be, that's the hard part. So that was the hard part for me, but, I'm a fighter, and I'm here. I'm ready to roll.
Well, good. We're ready to roll with you for sure.
So thanks for asking. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm just happy. I'm thrilled you're back.
Yeah.
And I think your story is important.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it without going into all the details of it. But it's definitely show worthy and talking about, because actually I'm one of 8 women. And so if I have a platform or something to say about it, it's definitely something that needs to be known. And it's common. It's common. And so, and it's super scary. But so thanks for letting me talk about it.
And something you just said reminded me. So years ago, they thought I might have ovarian cancer.
Right.
Fortunately, I did not.
Thank God.
But you're right. When they first tell you that,
it's an out of body.
It is out of body. You're
like,
this can't be happening to me.
And you hear nothing once they tell you or they say something to you. And even though these physicians say it to people every day, once they say it to you, you're like, I can't hear anything that you're saying, because all the wave, if whether you're a mom or not, or you have things going on in your life, it just comes over you. You're like, how am I going to manage this?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm incredibly blessed to have friends and family that is above and beyond. And I would wish that what I have going on in my life to anybody, and especially my daughter who came home and took, didn't skip a beat about, I'm going to be there. And no matter what, I have a life, I can't do it. Just didn't even skip a beat. So we're tight, people. We're tight.
And all your friends, because that's what the Moms Club is all about. We are good friends, and we're there for you.
Yeah, you are.
And absolutely.
And ditto.
Absolutely.
I'm the friend you want to have. I will drive you to the ER, and I'll take you to the airport. What more would you want out of a friend?
And she drives me around Los Angeles with I have my eyes closed.
And it's awful, you guys. Yes. Monica's the worst passenger.
I'm the worst passenger in a stressful situation. Like, Julie, I know we've got to get over those 4 lanes. And she's like, I got it. And so then I close my eyes and brace myself, and we make it. So we're here now. Nothing bad has happened.
There's nothing like good friends and a good girlfriend.
Exactly. Well, you had a difficult January and February.
Yeah, but I'm not the only one.
You are not the only one. And so today we're going to share a different story. Our guest today has been with us before. The last time she was here with her mom, talking about their amazing, or as we say in the Moms Club, amazing careers.
Yeah.
She is a rising recording artist, singer, and violinist who has made a significant impact on the music scene. By the time she was 18, she'd already performed at Lincoln Center and had a song on a Grammy award-winning album. She is truly amazing, and she's here to share her story with us about her family's experience with the Palisades fire. Sadly, they lost their home, and we'll hear more about it. Please welcome Isolde Fairr back to the Moms Club.
Yes, hello. How are you guys? Thank you for having me.
We are good. So Julie's told her story. She had a little difficult. She had a difficult January, February.
No pun intended.
But you can relate.
Sorry.
Okay, Julie.
It's a mood. I'm so sorry with what you had to go through,
Thank you.
But the fact that you're a survivor and the fact that you're fighting is something that I feel like I can relate to.
Yes.
And it's amazing that you're still fighting.
Yeah.
Because truly I feel like as women and as people, we are at a point in our life when we're figuring out and learning how to be braver and to be able to be more of ourselves and like be okay with that and be able to, I think, what's the word? Like be able to like fend for ourselves and be able to be there and be strong and not to back down,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, you both are a good example of that. So let's start. Well, it takes a little time. Let's not get it as easy for me to say. I'm the one in the middle that doesn't have a story to tell.
Oh, that's not true.
That's not true.
Well, so not true. I mean, you're here, for goodness sake.
That's true. So take us back, before we talk about the other side of it, take us back to that day. So what exactly was your experience?
Oh, good Lord. I was sick with the flu. I was sick with the flu, I think I got the flu, I think it was a couple days beforehand. It was just kind of going around at the time.
Yeah.
You don't really know, what to expect. It comes every year. It comes every winter. And I'm the type of person that only gets sick probably around like once or twice a year. Mm-hmm. And for all the moms out there, my mom got me hooked on cod liver oil from Erewhon.
Oh boy.
I will say since I was 3 years old, I have been taking it nonstop. I only get sick like once or twice a year. Right. So, it's very good for your body and your immune system. And I was kind of, I would say like loosening myself up, and I wasn't really taking the cod liver as I should be. I was rushing everywhere, doing jobs, doing things, and I'm like, work is so important, and I really wanted to maintain more of my health, but I just kind of had like a little downfall, and I was like, okay, I had the flu. The worst that could happen is that I just like sit in my room all day and either record songs or sleep, I was getting some rest, and it was a beautiful morning. Like the day started off so beautiful, and this is like a biased opinion, but I love the Santa Ana winds. I always have never had a problem with them. I just thought they were so beautiful, even though they can be a complete destruction, as we all know
I'm
now,
sure
you
you're
know?
used to them being calming and something that is bringing, something more spiritual than,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's something about the wind that's so beautiful. And so I think, like, it blusters and it's just a nice breeze in your hair and a nice feeling on your body and, with the sun. And it's just, especially in California. I mean, that's why we all live here,
Right.
That's why so many people live here is they come for the ocean, they come for the beach, they come for the sunny days because it's practically spring every season of the year. So the morning just started off so beautiful. And I was at a moment where I was just like, I was still really sick, but again, I was like, I'm just gonna put up the blinds and I'm just gonna enjoy the weather and love living in the Palisades, because I did love living in that area. So I was staying at my parents' house and my mom comes in and she's like, oh, there's a fire in the Highlands. And okay, so on January 1st, there was a bunch of different parties happening, for New Year's. And so my cousin and I got back home around like maybe 4 a.m. And so,
that's a party.
It was a party for sure. We went to a couple of them. And he was staying over at my place because he lived super far and, in a different area. And so he's kind of like my older brother, except I boss him around like a little sister. And I'm like, go sit over there. Like, that's where you're sleeping. You're sleeping on the couch. And he's like, can I have a pillow? And I'm like, I'll throw it from the other room, Right. And I was like, I'm tired. I don't want to wake anybody up. And, that morning, like, we had a really nice morning, and I told my mom, I was like, I'm sorry if we like woke you up or anything. And she's like, no, you didn't. Actually, I was already awake. There was a fire in the Highlands on January 1st, early that morning around like 4 a.m. And that morning when I was with my cousin before we went into the house, we saw all these helicopters kind of surrounding the Highlands area, and we're like, okay, like the firefighters are going to take it out. It's going to be fine. And they did. Like, they always do. And like, I'm so grateful for them. But with this fire, there was
not
no
even a first responder
that's
could.
That's
nobody.
January 1st, and they thought later that there were people shooting off fireworks for the New Year. Is that right?
Yeah. So there was kids that were shooting off fireworks, and I think that the fire did not get completely maintained, and so there was embers that were lying around, and so when the wind picked up on this 7th, or it was like the 6th or the 7th, that part of the Highlands started to
reignited the fire, and the Santa Ana winds like drove it over towards the Palisades. So how long between the time your mom said that, and did she say we need to evacuate, or when you're here, you're sick?
So we had gone through a couple of evacuations before, and this was not the first,
Right.
And the Highlands has always had some sort of fire every now and then, whether it was like an artisan, meaning like somebody who was like igniting a fire because they wanted to or for some stupid reason, or, maybe like a spark happens between a power line and a brush, or who knows,
Right.
There's so many things that could happen.
So for someone who's from California, do you have a go bag? Do you have how does this work?
Yeah,
what
you're
did you end up
setting the scene. So
taking?
you're sick, you don't feel well. And what did
well.
you take? Like, how did you decide what to take with you?
So typically on every evacuation that I, was a part of in the times that I've lived in the Palisades, I always took my most expensive clothing.
Yeah.
It's
art. It's art.
It's art.
It's art.
My mom,
it's a must.
It is a must.
Yeah.
My mom made, she had this Versace jumpsuit.
Ooh.
Oh, it was so beautiful. And it was from the 90s. And so as a kid, she always just she's like, it was $1,000 back then. And I bet it's going to be like more now. And it was something that also like the piece itself is literal art. It had like Mozart on it. It had all these different composers, and it had like music notes and like violins, and I loved it.
That would be cool.
That would be very cool.
It was very cool, and I was like,
so did you take
well, I hope
it?
you took it.
oh, I took it. I took it. That was one of the first things. So I took it because it just meant so much to me.
Yeah.
Of course.
And I was super sick, and I didn't have like any fluids or any food in my body, so I was just like so out of it, and my mind was just like, what am I doing? So I went through my closet, and I was like, what's replaceable? I was like, that's replaceable, oh, that could be replaced, oh, I don't think I'll need that. There's a bunch of things
And are there animals involved?
Oh, yes. My dog, Dmitry Shostakovich.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you say that one more time?
Yes. You always, in my family, it's a tradition to name a dog after a classical composer.
Okay.
So,
Of course there is. Silly me.
Because why not?
No. Why not? Yeah.
Why not, you know? So his name is Dmitry Shostakovich. I call him Shosti for short.
I love it.
Or Dimi. It's a little, cute name. We definitely took him.
Yeah, of course.
So obviously bring your pet.
That's
or
another
else
show.
That
if
would
you
have been a whole
didn't.
different story if you left him.
Don't leave your animals, you guys.
No.
First and
No,
foremost.
you told me you took your birth certificate, which you learned, or you took some documents you didn't need to take, right? Because you could have gotten them later.
I did not take any documents.
Oh, okay.
Which was actually totally fine because the government said it's all free, and I was like, great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take
It's like,
it.
let's go, government. But I took my Grammys.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Now, did your mom? She had Grammys too, so
She
she
did
didn't
not
take her
take it.
Grammys.
She did not.
I don't know why.
Did they replace those?
Yeah, that's a great
Oh,
question.
they're replaceable for sure. And I think a majority of the things that are in somebody's house are so replaceable.
Sure.
Besides, I'd say grandma's jewelry, which these rings right here.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
They're just stunning.
Mhm.
Like they are my grandma's, and they were all in the safety deposit box that burned in the fire, but
it burned around.
it burned around.
Right.
So thank the Lord that our safe box was good. But, I think the thing was that, like, still, I mean, this was one of the only pieces. Everything else on my body right now is donated,
Sure.
But this cross was something that I took. My mom gave me a Tiffany necklace for graduation.
Yeah.
So I took that because it just was meaningful to me.
Sentimental,
So you have all these possessions, and I think that, you think about possessions for what they are, right?
Yeah.
Not the most important thing. So Monica and I have kids in our 20s, and, what is it like for you as a young person? What does this teach you? How do you start over? What is the lesson in it?
Well, I think for me, because I was born and raised in that same house that I grew up in the Palisades, for me, it's more of a new start. So it seems more, I think, positive because I think there's so much positivity. And even in such a destructive and chaotic time, I think you learn from the lessons of being a young kid, and in a way, the fire is like a sense of relief. It's like it kind of washes everything off of you, and like you become a new person.
It's like the phoenix,
literally like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah, right.
So do your parents? How did they view it? Because they're older, and those were decades of their possessions. And how do they feel about?
I think in that situation, it's a little different.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's something where it's more of an adventure and more of something where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to be okay being able to grow up now. Like, I hope that my childhood home is restored. I'm not going to live there again, though. I'll visit my parents if they move back there, but I'm now an adult. I'm 21 years old. I'm starting to figure out my living situation and live on my own. With my parents, it's a place where they literally got that house from nothing. Like they grew up in two different types of households. My dad grew up with like two brothers, and he was the oldest, and he lived in Seattle, and he came down to be in the music industry. And my mom, her mother and dad, or father, her mom was a actress at one point and then decided to become a holistic healer and chiropractor and doctor. And then my grandpa on my mom's side, he was like an alternative alternative energy. And he was also in like finance. Yeah. And so he grew up from nothing too. He was an immigrant from Italy. And so his mom died young. His father was very abusive. And so he grew up with a sister who actually worked at Hanna-Barbera as like a cell drawer
Oh,
for the
wow.
Flintstones way
Wow.
back when. She's
Wow.
so cool.
That's such
That's
a cool
impressive.
Like,
thing.
The most
Yeah.
Italian woman you'll ever meet.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
bet. I bet.
And he decided to move to Baja California and really start his life again, because in the 1906 earthquake, he was like 1 year old, but his parents lost everything in San Francisco, and so
mean,
there was a fire
So
too.
they had some knowledge of what
Yeah.
it's like to lose things like that at
Yeah.
their age. So we have Zoomer moms who have lots of
Oh,
questions
we
for you.
do.
But
Amazing.
before we get to them really quick,
Yes.
you told me too that you learned a lot. Like there are resources. Like you even
100%.
mentioned your clothes you're wearing are
Yes.
donated.
Yes.
So you learned how you had nothing.
I had nothing.
And how do you go about accessing those resources? Are there groups that help you automatically jump in there and say,
Yes.
come help or we'll help you, or do you have to
There's-
seek them out?
There's so many different foundations and so many different corporations that are so amazing.
Can you give us one that you really stuck out to you?
Oh, there was this one. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was called either A-List Hollywood, which was really, really lovely group of women in the
Donated
industry.
clothes and yeah.
J-Lo donated some clothing. I got a pair of Versace heels from her.
Oh, wow.
I was like, she had a lot of Louis Vuitton heels. And
I mean, only in Hollywood. We're
Only in
like,
Hollywood
hey,
that
I
would
need new
happen.
clothes.
It's
Let
good
me
to
get
be
some
to be her size. How
Yeah,
about
no
that?
kidding.
literally,
I'll take it.
literally, there was
Yeah.
a bunch of different clothing that were donated through different people in the industry, which was so lovely because I think the community itself, it's so strong, and that's what I learned throughout this whole situation. And I'd say that was one. I think that's what it's called. I think it's called A-List Hollywood.
I
Uh-huh.
think
You
you're
know,
right.
That is great.
That's one. And then there's this one called Frankie's Bikinis, which was really cute.
That's cute.
And they had a bunch of like swimwear stuff and very high end, very nice. And you could pick like 3 different outfits and 3 different things. And it was like by appointment only too. Rag and Bone did one as well.
Nice.
That
They
is
for
great.
jeans, which was lovely. And then there was one at this like an editorial house, like in the like the parking lot that a good friend of mine told me about, and he also like lost his place in the fire, and so he told me about it, and he told me to go there, and everybody there was so lovely as well. And so I don't know, I think also being able, like, a bunch of my childhood friends also lost their place, so like we're all kind of in the same boat, but I think being able to have a strong community and like be there for one
Yeah.
another is so important.
And that's what the Moms Club is about.
about.
That's what we're all about. So
Exactly.
we want to
Yeah.
invite
Love.
our Zoomer moms because I'm sure they have a lot of questions. So welcome, Zoomer moms. Welcome to the Moms Club. Well, let's start with Annie. Tell us a little bit about where you're from, and do you have any children? And do you have a question for Isolde?
I do, and I do. I am a mom of 2 boys, one of which is the younger, he's 26, and I guess we have a little bit in common in that I was his manager for a time when he was growing up. He's a guitar player. He's in a band in Chicago, and it's called The Untold, and it's leading to my question for her. They have recorded some really good music in the last year that has to do with mental health issues, which is a huge topic right now for lots of reasons. But I guess where I want to go with her is today, from what I'm seeing, she seems to be in a good place.
I try to be.
But what I want to know is, how did you get there? Like, did you go somewhere or even your parents for, counseling, or did you all join a group, a support group? Because you do seem to be, I guess, resolved might be a good word. You said you had that loss now, but how did you get to that place? Because it had to be devastating for at least a few weeks.
Yeah, good question. Good question.
Yeah,
Thank
great
you,
question.
I think that's an amazing question and something that I actually want to talk about with you guys. I think mental health is so huge. My mental health was never this good, ever. I think that if my younger self would have saw me, she would have been so, so proud. And I think that as a kid, I was actually just talking about this with a friend of mine in the car the other day. And I think there's so many different things that, you know, you surround yourself with different people in your environment. I mean, there was a time where I want to be so honest, I was suicidal when I was 16 years old. And it was something where I was at a really dark place in my life. And it was difficult to be able to want to live on planet Earth. And that was at a time where I was trying to figure out myself, because I either, by teachers that I had in my life, told that I was not good enough, that I'd become a failure. And this is by people that I cared about in my life. Not my parents. My parents were definitely there for me, but I think they were always trying to be strong for me. And so I wanted to be strong for myself so I could be strong for others. And I took mental health into my own hands when I knew I was going downhill. There was a couple other situations that I feel are super important to talk about. I got interrogated by the police when I was 16 years old, and they handcuffed my hands behind a chair in somebody's office without my parents knowing about it. And I was at a camp in Michigan. And that scared the living daylights out of me. And I didn't know who to talk to. I couldn't I felt like I lost a lot of trust in humankind. And then I started to regain it after I started to love myself again. And I was always like wanting to be there for myself. I always wanted to love myself. And I think everybody should love their self, you know, fully, to love somebody else. And so I really took mental health seriously because I was at an absolute toll. And so I decided that I was going to go to counseling. It was super expensive. I had a family friend who was a psychologist, and she helped me, and she saved my life multiple times when I was 16. And I am now free of that.
Advocate. You speak freely about it, and I think that really helps.
Yeah,
so, for sure.
You know, so I took BetterHelp. I mean, I don't know if this should be a sponsored ad for BetterHelp. BetterHelp, sponsor me.
Yeah,
I love you guys. You saved my life.
The best endorsement is one for the genuine.
Why not?
Well, I love that you brought that up, because people know about it.
Yeah.
And if it really helped, it really helped.
It really did. I had this amazing counselor, and
so you're saying online counseling.
Online
is what
counseling,
you're saying.
yes.
Yeah.
And she was so amazing, and I had her in my life. But I also, when I was doing classical music, because I was classically trained in violin for 17 years, and now I'm a pop singer, so definitely a change, you know. But the thing is that I had a teacher, I had a couple violin teachers that were very different from one another. The first one was not my favorite, and I wish her the best. I really do. You know, and I think she helped me and she hurt me at the very same time. And she was the one that was telling me I wasn't good enough, and you'll never be good enough to play in this orchestra because you never do this. And I think critique is such a toxic thing to do. I mean, critique is great, but in a healthy way, it should be maintained. But it was very toxic for a very long time, for about maybe 10 years. And so I told myself, I'm not going to go through that. And then I went through another teacher who was lovely, but it was hard for me to open up. Yeah. Even with playing.
It's already been shut down.
When you've already been shut down. Yeah. Yes, exactly. And so she was lovely, but she decided to go another path with profession, and she went to become an incredible teacher at U of M, at the University of Michigan. And
so what I'm hearing too is if you look at that experience, which was pretty devastating at the time, and you got counseling and you dealt with it. If someone were to tell people a scenario and say, what would be worse, just having a really rough, we could even call it abusive at times, situation as a child, or having your house burned down, most people would think the thing that would make you come out the other side not as together and saying, I'm feeling better than I ever felt before, would be the house burning down.
Right.
So, so you are really a testimony to the good counseling you did get.
Yeah. Thank you. Going more on that topic is even the people around you are the most influential in your life. You know, and so
have your parents been they've been positive for you? They've had a good attitude and been positive, or
they've had mixed attitudes, but that is so okay because they've been going through a lot.
They've been through it too.
Right.
Well, let me not miss our other Zoomer moms here. So
Sorry.
that's okay. So
it's such a good question.
Yes, it was an excellent question.
Yes.
Thank you, Annie. Billy Ray, welcome to the Moms Club. Please tell us your name, where you're from, and do you have a question for Isolde?
Yeah, hi everybody. Billy Ray here. I am actually a new mom. I have a 5-month-old daughter.
Oh, congratulations!
Congratulations, that's amazing.
On a learning journey for sure. But yeah, it's been great, and thank you for sharing your story. It's really nice to hear the sort of human side of a lot of the natural disasters that our country is facing. I actually work in the clean energy industry, and I think a lot about resilience for our buildings and other sort of physical spaces. But kind of similar to Annie's question, I'm wondering what kind of skills or, sort of foundational efforts you've made to become more resilient in the face of disaster. And it sounds like you have a few different examples of that. So just love to hear your thoughts on that.
That's a really good question as well.
What makes you resilient, babe?
Girl, so many things. I think what makes me resilient, that truly, that's an amazing question. And I love your name, by the way. Beautiful name. I think what makes me resilient is the fact that even through all these different hardships, I still had faith in humanity. And I still I love people. Yeah. I love people. I love being around people.
You're a people person.
I'm a people person.
Yeah.
I will never not be. Even when shit goes crazy, I will never not be. I love people because I think I just see the good in them.
Good.
And I always try to, even at the worst. And I think that was one thing that makes me resilient. But also, I think when you learn how to be there for yourself through all these different circumstances, whether it's it being, emotional abuse, or whether it being your house burning down, or whether it be something crazy happening, or breast cancer,
friend.
or exactly, like all these different things happening in life. I think the things that make you resilient are your mindset, the mindset that you carry within yourself. I think I go by affirmations all the time. I
love it.
I listen on my headset. I was coming here in an Uber listening to affirmations and Tate McRae.
Okay. So does it help too to be prepared?
Yes.
Like a lot of people, not to be going the scouting program necessarily, but we're at a place, goes to like what Billy Ray does for her career, like if I had to evacuate my house, I might not know where to go. If I had nowhere to live, or the power went out, which did happen one time, and I did not handle that very well, because I'm not that kind of person. But that's what's bad. Like I could starve to death. Does it help too? Do you feel? Well, I would.
Oh my goodness.
It's just being honest here, Julie.
I love it. That's what we should be.
Okay. Monica's biggest fear show.
Yes,
no, literally.
That will be another show. But I mean, do you feel now like, okay, if something happened I'm prepared to deal with anything. Like I've got myself, I didn't get in a bad situation like starving to death. I knew what to do. You also feel like, you're all, because there's a lot of internal things you're talking about, which are awesome.
Thank you.
But yes, but if you're starving because you have no power.
Well, I do.
Do you recommend people
prepare
themselves for what could happen? Because there's plenty of things that could happen these days with, climate change and everything. They were losing worse storms and things. People are finding themselves in a similar situation. And some of them were truly homeless. I mean, were in shelters or living in their car or what. So did you find yourself, or do you feel now more prepared to deal with if the worst thing happened? You're ready because you've been through it and you got it.
I do. I honestly feel that the community is so important. Because that was the only reason how my family and I got housed.
And where are you living?
We're in Playa del Rey, which is near Marina. It's this cute little area. It's like a beach town. And
are you renting or friends, or how does this?
Friends renting situation. But it's really lovely because we're super grateful for them, and they're close friends, and you know, right as we were like at our, you know, trying to put some stuff away in a different place right after the fires, and we were checking on the house because we had a Ring camera. And so we were just at this one little place, and we were just watching our house burn down to the ground. And we had so many people reaching out, and so lovely. And honestly, I'm just so blessed and so grateful for everybody that's either reached out or has been in my life or has sent me prayers or has, you know, there's so many different things. So
it's really the support.
It's the
support. I
support.
should not fear starving to death if
No,
the
we're
worst
gonna
happens.
feed you,
It's the
Monica.
We're gonna feed you.
Jan, welcome to the Moms Club. Tell us your name and where you're from and a little bit about yourself. And do you have a question for Isolde?
Hello.
Yes. I'm Janice Corcamus, and I live in Dallas, Texas. I'm a country western singer, and my business was limousine service for many years, but I have an adult child that I take care of that lives with me on the spectrum. So my question is to you is, what kind of advice would you give to young people in this time of tragedy? And also, did you write a song about it?
Did I write a song about it? By the way, I love that you are a country singer, and I love that you have a limousine business. That is so badass. So cool. I did write a song about it. I have not released it yet, but it's called Hometown.
Can
And
you sing a few bars of it?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Let me get my phone out. I have all the lyrics.
Well, we only have time for a few.
It'll
of
be a
it,
few.
but
It'll be
let's
like a
hear it.
few. I just need to.
We just want to hear
Let
Yeah,
me-
well, she has a beautiful voice, and if you haven't
Thank you. You guys.
listened to her songs and her, you're
Blushing.
You're amazing.
Yeah.
You are amazing, Isolde. So
Well, so
We've
so
got
are
a
you
Grammy
guys.
winner who's blushing. I mean, come on. Yeah.
Thank you,
Sing
guys.
a couple chords for us
Okay.
to kind of, I think that's an amazing way to take
Yeah.
us out.
yeah,
Okay.
Like, because
Yeah.
your art, I think, is getting you through too.
Thank you. Oh, I agree. I think art is one of the most important things that I think for me has distracted me in such an amazing way
Yeah.
during this time, you know?
Really hyper focus.
Yeah.
Go for it, girl.
exactly.
Okay,
Give
well,
us
let's hear
something.
it.
Okay. So this is the chorus. It's like, it's my hometown, the leaves and the trees are burned now. Tangle my knees, I'm thrown down. Hard wearing nails, they'll pull, push away. It's my hometown. The skies and the views are gray now. Smoke and ash left the grave town. Tombstones of houses, they're cold, cold. Heaven now became hell. The cold, cold heaven now became hell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Wow, that
So
really comes from.
Thank you.
Yes,
Like a
I'm-
little snippet.
Yes, I'm gonna have to go get
Thank
my
you.
makeup redone. I'm in tears.
I love
Wow,
it.
wow, wow!
Thank
That
you
was
for doing
amazing.
that.
Oh, of course, anytime.
Well, okay, well, we're looking forward to that being released. We're
Yes.
having
hopefully
a
soon.
preview of it.
Little preview.
So, where can everyone
Yeah, where
find
do we
you on
find you?
social
Yes.
media? And
Social
Where-
media is at Isolde Fairr with another R. So ISOLDE FAIRR. And that's for Instagram, TikTok. And then for YouTube, it's just Isolde Fairr with not a double R. So ISOLDE FAIR.
Perfect.
well,
then,
thank
yeah.
you. Well,
Perfect.
thank
And on
you
Spotify
so-
too.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you. Check her out. She is
you.
amazing, as
you,
we
guys.
say here on the Moms Club.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing your story, because I think a lot of people needed to hear that. They've heard of what happened, but they don't really understand
Yeah.
how it affected the people who lived here in other parts of the country that had similar things happen. So
And
thank
what-
you so much.
Well, thank you,
And
guys, for having me.
you can find us on social media too at Inside the Moms Club. We're on TikTok. We're on all the platforms.
Yeah.
TikTok, YouTube. We're everywhere. Facebook, Instagram. Check us out there. And check out our sponsors. We have amazing sponsors. One of them is I turned to last night was Newcom, which is an app that you can get that helps you sleep better and focus. And last night, that's how we stay roommates, because it keeps us from killing each other. Oh, and thanks you too today to our Zoomer moms. We want to thank them. They all ask amazing questions, and we finally also want to thank, and we listen to this closely because it's important to all of you moms out there. We want to thank the Beeman Hotel, who recently has been sponsoring great events for moms in the Dallas area where women can come together and meet each other, and the local people have contributed prizes. So there's women that get there and they get a special gift. We couldn't have done it without the Beeman Hotel and some amazing people that have done that. But also, we're going to do this all over the country. So we are doing it in Dallas, but we're going to do it everywhere so moms can come together and get to know each other and find out and discover if they too want to be a Zoomer mom and be on our show. If you're interested in being a Zoomer mom, check out our website, InsideTheMomsClub.com, and there's a tab on there where you can sign up.
That's right.
To be a Zoomer mom, and we'll have you on the show as well. Well, Julie, again, welcome back.
Thank you.
You're back in the groove. Oh.
What?
Are you going to tell all your friends to be Zoomer moms?
Of course.
Okay, good.
I mean,
I was going to say we're going to have to let you go as a co-host if you're not willing.
Oh, no.
Now we got you back to work. Now you're
always on it.
Okay.
Always on it.
Julie's going to do that.
Zoomer mom.
Julie's going to do that, and all you moms out there, even if you're kind of like shy and like, I don't know that I want to be a Zoomer mom, I bet all of you know at least 3 of your friends who'd make amazing Zoomer moms. They'd be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, every friend loves to chat. Be a Zoomer mom.
Yeah.
It's super cool. You learn something.
Yeah, put your chattiest friends who you think are smart and can ask good questions and tell them to be a Zoomer mom.
Right.
So, exactly.
Anyway, it's been amazing.
It has been it's been great.
I know.
And it's so like time flies, and it certainly has today as always.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I love when we have young people who are wiser
and that's always
than us.
Yes.
What?
So that's always amazing. Well, we will be back next time with celebrities and extraordinary moms like you in listening audience. We know that your me time is precious and valuable. Thank you for spending it with us. We will see you next time inside the Moms Club.